I'm Jeff Stormer, and I host Party of One, an actual play podcast focused on two-player role-playing experiences. Every week, I sit down with a friend.
J.R. Goldberg.
Alvaro, a.k.a. Wormtooth, formerly MC Blackwolf.
Danny Costello.
My name's Rich Howard.
I'm Sharung Biswas.
We play a two-player role-playing game. We share some laughs.
An absolute blast to play.
It was a delight to run my game with someone who got so into it.
It was so easy to do.
Seeing the creativity just blossom right in front of my eyes.
Maybe a few tears.
I've never had a game make me question my previously staunch moral compass.
Jeff makes the greatest serial killer.
And we have a really good time.
It's a great way to take a chance on a new role-playing game.
Truly exemplifies what is wonderful about a game with just two people driving the narrative together.
You can find new episodes every Tuesday at partyofonepodcast.com.
My name is Aram, my pronouns are he, him, and welcome to Godsfall.
My name is Matt, my pronouns are he, him, and I'm playing a level 1 character.
When we last left Sigma, he had been born into his divinity amongst the Sun Elves in their desert oasis. His memories were fractured, but he soon realized what he was, a mind flayer, and a hungry one at that. Azari is literally on his knees again before you, and he's kissing the hem of your robe as you're floating above. Elora has taken a knee as well. Tiatha takes a knee, but she seems ever so hesitant. But she does as well.
Okay.
And everyone's yelling and screaming and cheering, and that goes on for a bit. And then at some point, Azari comes up to you and says, "My lord, shall I show you to your chambers? I have guards set outside, loyal to me. You will not be disturbed while you sleep."
Yes.
Okay, so they kind of walk you. He walks you up the ring, and he's showing you different areas and where the council meets, and just like little details about about the city that is now yours.
Right.
And walks you to your cave, which is a very luxurious rug pulled over it that he parts to the side.
And I don't want to step in and sleep.
No.
But like you're saying, I'm being led here.
Yes.
Okay. What I want to do is I want to take a look at it, then turn and nod and say, "I have slept for long enough."
I thought you may have. And he gestures towards a side room, and he pulls the curtain aside, and there is a ring in the floor, and chained to the floor is one of your attackers. The younger elf, is chained to the floor and gagged. And Azar kind of walks behind him and puts his fingers on the man's neck and squeezes hard, hard enough to cause pain. "We can't let you be attacked, and we can't let your power be threatened. And I have seen that you gain power from us."
Yeah, again, I still want to look like Enid while I'm even doing this.
So,
right.
Absolutely. And then he just kind of nods. It's like, "I'll be at your beck and call should you need me." He turns on a heel and he walks out.
As he's walking out, I want to say, it's fine if I was birthed with anything else. Is there anything else that was left in my womb?
"I shall have people search immediately."
Thank you.
He nods.
Yes, I don't say thank you.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
I turn toward my would-be assassin. And this is the part where, the camera would kind of pan out of the door and the door would shut and you hear him as I suck his brain too. I'll roll it.
You don't have to. He is completely incapacitated. You can just take it.
And what I want to learn is all of this delicious power. I want to learn the secrets of who these conspirators are, who they think I am versus who I am. And I mean, it's going to be confusing with memories, but I'm a blank slate anyway.
The gentleman's name is Oris, Orris. His sister's name is Osonia, Osonia. So Oris and Osonia.
Both are assassins.
But
they were would-be assassins.
Right. They were playing the role of assassin.
Yes.
They wanted you gone. They wanted you dead. And because...
I wonder why.
Well, because they had been guided by Ayus here. They had been told that you would be here. And they had been told... Some of them had been told that you would bring life. That's all that they heard. That you would bring life to them and to this desert. But a couple of them started to have nightmares about your arrival recently. That were building. That there was a corruption, that there was a darkness, that there was something that got into what was supposed to be here and infected it and turned it. And so there's this small sect in there, and you see 5 other faces and get 5 other names, but there's 5 other people, so 7 total within this organization. And so there's 5 more out there. And they fully believed that you were a monster that needed to be destroyed. And they knew that if they didn't destroy you immediately, that if you got a toehold into this community and into this world, that was it. They had one chance, and that was it.
Whatever is close to a smile that can split my tentacled lips is behind the mask of Enid, and I smile that terrible smile. So I know then the assassins' faces. I might not know their names. I know what they call each other.
Yeah.
And this cadaver is slumped down. The next thing I want to do, again, because I know these assassins are working in the corners, and I mean, why wouldn't they want to kill me? Sure. I can already feel why they would want that.
Yeah, you eat their faces.
They're wrong to do that.
Right. They should thank you for eating their faces.
Well, I'm not quite sure what I can give them, but this is definitely something that was yearned for. This was something that was clamored over, right? I mean, this is... I didn't ask for this.
They walked through the desert for this.
I didn't ask for this. They found this. This is fine. This is a delicious challenge. Okay, what I want to do next is I would like to...
So real quick, you've consumed Oris at this point. So you've eaten him at this point. He's now fallen... he's like you're this old man.
Yes.
Your jaw unhinged. You wrapped around. You're right, exactly. Like these bony fingers. Then you consumed him, and as you did, you got taller and stronger and broader, and your muscles were more lithe and more agile than yours have ever been. And you just turn into him as you consume him, and now you're just kind of padding through this cave in a body that feels more.
So it's not Enid,
efficient
but it's more
than any you've ever been in. So when you consume these people, you're retaining your intelligence, your charisma, your wisdom, but you can pull them up and gain their physical stat.
Okay.
Should you choose to.
Now, may I roll another Arcana or history to know that this is not natural for a Mind Flayer?
Oh yeah, I would. Well, you rolled a 19, so I'd say you can roll with advantage. You seem to know what they are. You don't remember.
Natural 20.
Natural 20. Yeah, Mind Flayers don't do this.
Right.
No, there's magic, and as you stop to think about it for a second, you see more flashes, and you see other Mind Flayers, and you're all in this huge underground chamber, and before you is this giant brain. To describe it any other way, like you're in this ring, in this upper ring of these stadium seating, right? All around this sunken floor that contains the dome of this brain is coming out of it.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it's huge, and you're kind of seeing this ritual that you were all participating in, and then the brain tore apart. There was this rift that formed, there was this energy that opened, and you were looking into something that wasn't your world, your universe, your stars, and you felt pulled forward, and that's the last memory you have.
Yes.
But you know that in that memory, you recognize more of what you were. You never had the ability to become other people. You had the ability to speak in others' minds. You had the ability to levitate. You had these powers are coming back to you as far as what you can do, but you never had the ability to become others.
And now I do.
And now you do. And it's not just look like them. You are recalling their physical forms and wearing them as if they were yours.
Okay. What I want to do is I want to go to I want to find if there is a record-keeping room, or if there's some kind of an office, maybe a mayor. I want to take stock of what I have just come into. This is a wonderful gift.
Who do you ask for this?
I want to.
Oh, you can just think about it because you
I guess,
would know.
Yeah, I'd try to figure who would I ask for this.
So
Scanning.
you think for a moment, and then you like where the waterfalls is, where it actually starts pouring down. It's like it begins as a trickle, and there's all these little holes where it trickles out. So it builds and builds and builds until at the very bottom it becomes an actual waterfall because enough water has gathered. But even then, it's weak. It's like a trickle.
Okay.
But it's carved so many holes in and behind the rock, and they've added to that by carving in. So you can go behind the rock on either side. And it's like light seeps through all these holes, so it's filled with those holes. There's all these candles lit on the sides and all along the walls, everywhere. They've carved the story of their people. So
now,
it's
before
all
I
just
actually
right
go
there.
there, can I bring the guards that were outside my room with me, so I have an escort?
Yeah, well, as soon as you step outside.
Azari, Allura, and Tiatha around?
Right now with you, no.
Okay.
There's still some rough going on. It's getting towards dawn, and as it gets towards dawn, people are like there's a couple of people left over that are drunk, but most people are being helped either to their caves where you assume that they sleep. They seem to be nocturnal in nature, or at least they were up late this night. But there's also people that have gathered around the core of the tree, and they're grabbing these huge ropes, and there's about teams of 12, and there's 3 of these teams, and they're on either side, and they're walking forward and pulling this rope over their shoulders. And as they pull, the ropes have tension against these pulleys that go up to about mid-tree, right below where the leaves are, because all the leaves are on the top part. And as they pull, these ropes pull canvas, multi-colors, different scraps, all, some of it's canvas, some of it's cotton, all sewn together in this huge patchwork. And it gets pulled up the sides of the tree and pulled out and over the middle, and kind of creates this huge sail of shade over the valley below. So it doesn't block the sunlight for the tree because it needs it for the leaves.
Right.
But everything below that is protected. And instead of them being exposed to the sun, they have this shade and that's how they can operate during the day without the sun harming them.
I want to go to this waterfall cavern then, to where this with the escort, if I might.
Whose face are you currently wearing?
I am currently wearing Enid.
Okay,
the old man.
The old man.
The old man.
So you take a couple of steps.
I don't want to be my own assassin.
Right, exactly.
Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
I might want to do that. No one knows that I have the ability to do this. Even I didn't. I will wear the mask of my own assassin.
Okay, so you step out, and one guard turns, sees you, lifts this pipe.
Yes.
And is going to run you through.
Right, and I say, good work. And I change my face in front of him.
He stumbles backwards and drops to his knee and is like, I am so sorry. I did not know, my lord. I did not know it was...
Instincts like this will be rewarded. As he kneels, I want to put a hand on his shoulder and I say, it is good that you would strike down your brother in my own name. And loyalty like this will go rewarded. And I want to just move. That's it, and just move on.
Sure. So you turn. He scrambles to his feet, and the guards immediately are walking, behind you, but only a couple steps behind you, and flanked on either side, and they're just following you silently. All right, so you want to go to the cavern, I imagine,
to the cavern, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to, again, find some kind of numbers, something that I can get a better tangible idea of what I'm working with.
Sure.
How big is the territory? What kind of food? I want to... This is where I'd flip into a base management part of the game. I mean, it's kind of boring, but I want to know... I want to flip
what
through the
resources do I have at my disposal?
That's exactly what I want to know, yes.
All right, so you are walked down to this cave, and you walk into the back, and the light is starting to shine through this kind of like amber rock that glows. Like, you know those salt rock lamps?
Yes.
Right? So imagine a whole wall of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got holes in it too, and it's glowing pink, and it like fills this whole room in this rose light. and there is carvings all around you, and all of it is a little bit wet, so it glints in the light and all kind of like has more relief, and it shows again the story of how they came here, but it also has a huge map of the area.
Yes.
So you are in a country called Ryzan, and you are to the west of the main part of Ryzan. There's two main cities. There's the Bay of Capania, which is the capital, and it's called the Golden Bay, because this is after the Gods' War, and you're getting pieces of this now.
Yes.
The old gods all killed themselves, had a giant, big, huge war. Everyone died because they all had this giant war. They destroyed most of the world, and there's parts of it left, and the parts of it that are left were pretty ravaged, and Ryzan was one of them. This area of rock in the center of the nation was pushed forth. An entire layer was basically ripped up from where it was and shoved upwards, much like Ayers Rock in Australia.
Okay.
So that's just a layer of rock that's
just been lifted
That's
up.
why it's actually growing, because it's being pushed upwards more and more.
Yes.
So Ayers Rock is growing because it's just a layer that was like in a very incredible cataclysmic event got turned upwards.
Okay, I see. It's like a layer that's just been peeled up and has been pushed up,
and is going up by like fractions of a centimeter.
And that's this whole continent.
That's just the center part.
Okay.
So the same kind of thing happened. There's this big, huge rock in the middle. It's split open in the center though, because this basically entire thing had a vein of gold running through the middle. So when it turned upwards, the gold was brought straight to the surface. It erupted over the entire land, and there's such a richness of gold now in the center that they've just mined down into it, and it's what powers the entire economy. So the mines are there. Capania is to the south. That's the capital, and it is called the City of Gold because there's so much gold in the rock everywhere that there's flecks of it in the bay. So as the sun sets, it just hits all those flecks just right, and the whole bay lights up gold. That's how ridiculous
this
place
cult
is.
of metal will not be tolerated.
And that's all run by dwarves. Your people are basically they are outlanders, outcasts. They certainly would have no love from the dwarves, but even among their own people, they're outcasts. And frankly, most of them don't even think you still exist. They think you walked into the desert and perished.
The Sun Elves. You're talking about that. Most people think that the Sun Elves. So this is an advantage.
Yeah, they don't know you exist. No one does.
Who is in the room with me?
So you walked. So right now the two guards are waiting outside because it's like a curved area, and one of them walked through it before you even went in. So one's at one entrance and one's at the other, and you're in there alone.
Okay. Do I know if the entire population of the Sun Elves was at my birthing, at my crowning?
Yeah, everyone.
or
Everyone's
were
here.
were there other ones that were out there? Okay. So
yeah, there were maybe a couple scouts because they always have a couple of scouts around the outside rim, so they can't be taken by surprise. So there's probably a couple people that weren't there that were on duty. Otherwise, everyone was there.
Okay. What I want to do is I want to ask one of the guards and say, "Bring me a Zari, please."
Of course, and looks to the other guard and motions that he has to now protect both entrances, and that guard nods, and the other one goes running off.
Okay, while they're doing that, what I want to do is, so I can kind of look at this map. Ominous. I want to look at the map, and I want to, so you say that a lot of people don't think, or the majority of people don't think that the Sun Elves even exist anymore.
Right. There would be no reason for them to think you exist.
Right.
Yeah.
That is an advantage.
And Ayus seemed to help obfuscate your existence. That was part of the deal of leading you here. Yeah.
Right. Okay, well that is interesting. That is interesting. So I'm going to need to claim to be allied with their current savior, Ayus. So I have to think about that.
Well, Ayus is dead because he died in the Gods' War.
Right.
So he led them there, died in the Gods' War. Because of where they were protected from most of the destruction of the world. They were in like the perfect kind of bunker to be defended from what happened. And so they survived it. They survived the cataclysm. That was the irony, that, they went through all these hardships and all this torture to get here, but in the end, it kept them safe.
And what kind of, so we're pretty isolated then. We don't ship much. We don't trade.
Nothing.
What can we produce?
water and food in abundance. The ironwood tree, the ironwood sequoia that grows in the center of this impossible feature, right? Because there's water and there's a lake and there's grass and it's all in the middle of a desert, and there's also this impossible tree. And it happens to be, some of you aren't sure if it was a birth tree and it never received an elf, or if it became a birth tree when you all arrived, or if Ayus called it into being to be a birth tree. None of them know. But when you were
this
here,
tree is very sacred to them, and I
100%.
came out of it.
And you walked out of it, exactly.
A grin again on my face. Could this have lined up any? Oh.
No, it couldn't have. It's perfect. I mean, that's why, even though it was fucking horror show right away,
sucked out his brain.
They were still, well, also you came out wrapped in blood and entrails.
Right.
I mean, it was horror show from day one, from hour one, but they were all so prepared to believe it, and everything lined up so perfectly. And they had been waiting for so long. And so, yeah, they all buy it. Like, for the most part, they seem to all buy it.
Right. Good. Okay, so what I'm looking to do in all of this, by the way, is some kind of identity. Clearly, they worship me. Clearly, I'm some kind of I'm a mind flayer from somewhere else.
From beyond the stars.
From somewhere else. I don't know. The implications of that are pretty crazy. I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah, they're not great for anyone, really.
No. And what I want to do is, clearly, these people have brought me here for a reason.
Well, in their words, they didn't bring you here. They came here and waited for you.
They came here to come out.
Yeah, they didn't. It wasn't like they performed a ceremony or they did a thing or they called upon the tree. They came here, lived here, and waited for you to appear because that's what they were told would happen.
And now that I am here, they await my orders.
Yeah, they are primed.
And I got to ask myself then, or I should say Sigma. Yes, that's the name,
that's
isn't
the first
it?
time. Yeah, that's the first time you've thought of that. You realize that's your name.
That's my name, isn't it? Sigma. So Sigma would think, as he looks at the map and as he's in this amber-colored room, the light coming in, what do I want from this? Power. I can try to disguise it. I could try to think, is there something else really? But I have a thirst for knowledge, literally. I want to suck the brains out of people. I want to
consume their entire identities.
And in this moment right now, I want to invoke one of my own character flaws where I am just overwhelmed with the need, the compulsion to just suck the brain out of the nearest living thing. I'm going to try to hold it back like an addict clucking for a fix. I'm going to try to hold it back, but that need to know everything is there on the periphery.
As you're having that exact influence, you can hear someone walking slowly up, not trying to hide it, not trying to sneak up on you, just walking up behind you. Softer footsteps than the guards, lighter.
Okay, I turn to see
Tiatha.
Who it is Tiatha. You will be my eyes and my ears and my warriors. We will sculpt something from this sand heap that will bring you glory. And beyond glory, bring you purpose. This is a big project we will enact here.
Are you still wearing the flesh of Oris?
Of the assassin?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so she walks up to you, and she nods, and she kind of gently leans in and just gently places the side of her hand against your perfect face. Because Oris was a very good-looking gentleman.
Right.
And then she lowers it. Of course, my lord. We are all here to serve. We want what's best for us, and what's best for us is, of course, what is best for you.
I want to roll insight on that.
Of course.
If I may. Do I have any magical Can I use detect thoughts or not yet? Not yet.
You can use detect thoughts.
Then
you
I
get
would
ideas.
I would like to cast detect thoughts if I could.
She seems to always be holding something back. She's very careful in what she says. But she's not lying. And when she says we, she seems to mean the community.
Good. I'm glad you're reserved. I'm glad you don't wear it all on the front here. That is a good trait to have. What was your name? Talia?
Tiatha, my lord.
Tiatha. What industries of war can we build here? Can we start what would it take to start a glassworks? We're in the desert.
Our people are experts with glassworks, my lord.
And I must know more. Gotta know more. I must know who I am. I've got to know who you are. Oh, it's all so overwhelming, this gigantic vacuum, this lack of knowledge. Is there a library?
Books are hard to come by.
Is there someone who's read the books around?
Well, you consumed the knowledge of the oldest of us, my lord.
Perfect. Okay, then I got him.
Perhaps if you went back through his mind, perhaps.
Yes.
She leans forward and takes your hand.
I will allow it.
If we helped you meditate on it. And she guides you out of the chamber, and the guard, seems surprised that she got past him.
Right.
That was the one that I rolled, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so she got past the guard because she knew where you were and wanted to do a little
Scowl
one-on-one.
at the guard on the way out.
Yeah.
I just praised you for
Right,
this.
I'm
Okay.
so sorry, my lord. He's just following behind, and the sun isn't over the opening above you yet, but it is brighter daylight now, and most people seem to be asleep. There's a couple of people moving around. The shade that these sails that have been lifted are very heavy and multicolored and kind of play against the sand as you walk across it. And she leads you to this area on the other side of the rocks where it's been like a big wide cave has been carved out, and it's just the acoustics in there are excellent. Even your own thoughts seem to bounce back at you better in here. And she lights some candles.
What's
and
the
she
purpose
lights
of this
some
room?
incense. It is a place that has peace for many of us, my lord. I believe, should you sit and think here, should you want to search the thoughts of those who have joined you and become part of you, perhaps this would be the best place for it.
Insightful child. I'll take a seat.
Okay, and she sits down across from you and takes a position of meditation and seems intent in meditating with you.
Okay. That's fine, I suppose. And then what I want to do is I know that they're not going to know anything about who I am. I know they're not going to know anything about what my abilities are, but they will know more. And we've already kind of covered that. We've covered a little bit the history, where they came from. I have a lot of that right now. But I guess that's the purpose of me sitting here. So try to, again, try to search the minds of those who, I guess I'll do that. I'll double down on the Sun Elf brain knowledge, as there's another kind of knowledge. I'll try to double down on that, see what I can learn, and then I want to focus my study on what I am.
Okay, so as you begin to relax, as you begin to explore these minds, and it's like the knowledge is all there, but you have to think upon it for a moment. You have to access it. It's almost as if you're opening a door, and then all the knowledge is there. It's like you're switching hard drives from one to the other, and there's like this moment where you think upon it, and then the knowledge is there.
Yes.
And as you as these couple hours have passed, you feel that knowledge integrating more into yours. But for now, there's a separation. It's something else within you, almost like another personality, except you're just accessing their memories, and they have no power or control or voice within this.
Delicious.
They're
Delicious.
They're literally just brain servants,
and I can
thought
recall
slaves.
their thoughts and memories and personalities to serve the greater. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't know whether or not they buy my own BS there, whether or not they do live eternally in me. But this is going to make it easier to sell that to them.
Oh, totally.
To my subjects.
And because you can be them. I mean, you're currently wearing... Now, as you are also doing this, you feel yourself holding the form of Horus. Like, you can hold it for how long you want. When you choose to let go of it, it's let go. It's not like you're flexing a muscle where you have to always focus on it, but it's being held. And that at any point you can choose to let it go. But until you make that conscious choice, you'll retain this form. Even while you sleep, even if you were to be rendered unconscious, you would still keep this form.
Okay. Then I will keep the form then and just dig deep into this, and I know that what they are, I can access them. Okay, then I'm going to open my eyes. Is this all I can mine from this, or is this like the end of
no. There's.
Okay.
I mean, what do you want to know?
Okay, what I want to, I guess we've already kind of covered that. I like the glassworks idea. I want to.
You can see that more of that now. So, as you go into your own mind, and as you relax and find peace, in your mind's eye, you are yourself. So you kind of step out of darkness, and then you're in this pool of light, somewhere in this infinite room. And you kind of like turn around slowly in a circle, and as you turn back around to where you were facing initially, all of a sudden, the old man is there, and he's got a big board in front of him, and he's got chalk and charcoal, and he's got paints, and he just seems to be waiting for you.
And I can just explore his whole mind.
Yep, he draws things, he writes things, he explains things to you as you're going.
Yes, I want to know if he knows anything about mind flayers and their history or influence on the world, if anything at all.
He knows nothing. And this is a man who was always a scholar, even back before. Like, he was one of the ones that helped do the research on magic, helped find a way to take it for themselves, to use it for their own abilities. Like, he was in on the plan, and he's never heard of mind flayer.
Okay, then I'm going to dig into that. What are the Sun Elves capable of as units?
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to try to dig on.
Right now, as far as, I mean, since everyone's had to adapt to there being no magic, right? The Sun Elves are potent fighters, excellent in camouflage, excellent in asymmetrical warfare, good, fantastic scouts, excellent ambush predators. That's how they function. They blend in with the desert, and they strike without being seen, because as soon as they're found out, it's game over. So everything is to keep themselves isolated and secret.
And concealed. How can we have an advantage here? How can we... I mean, clearly I'm working with able warriors.
And for the most part, a very strong young population.
Strong. And how many are there?
A little over 100. Maybe 100. And, let's say 120.
Okay, 120. And do I know what it would take to get them to breed more for an army?
Yeah, it's tough because they're elves.
Right.
It takes a long time.
Takes a long time.
You know,
I must be careful with my units here.
They're powerful. They're good units, and they are well trained. And they know their territory, but there's 120 of them. And out of that 120 of them, probably 75 of them are of fighting age and ability. Like, are between the ages of, let's say, human equivalent, 15 to 50, right? That's 75% of the population.
Where in you say I'm in Ryzan?
Correct.
Where in Ryzan would be the place of knowledge? I want to know where the largest library is. I want to send scouts to read the books, and then they will return to me, and
with the books or just with the knowledge?
With the knowledge.
Gotcha.
And I will take their form unto me.
You all are somewhere around here in the Torrvic.
Vast.
Yeah. It is the largest desert in what's left of the world.
How long does it take to cross
by foot?
Yes.
A month and a half.
Do we have access to beasts of burden?
Giant hyenas. They have tamed, let's say, a dozen giant hyenas that they use to patrol mainly. It's mainly scouting patrols. Or if they go out to, they have to collect, there's a flower that only grows under these rocks, a 2 days journey west. So they take the hyenas to go. Yeah, so they
use the hyenas to traverse parts of the desert.
Giant hyenas.
Yes. And during the day, do I know what they do during the day to stay out of the sun?
The people?
Yes.
Oh, so they would just look for shelter, or they would have little
blood bags.
Lean-to things. Yeah, they have blood bags they zip up. No, they have little lean-to things that they hide under, right? Or they just wrap themselves up. They can be in the sun. It's just as long as the sun doesn't directly touch their skin, that's when it starts. They're at disadvantage at certain things in direct sunlight, but it doesn't start to physically hurt them unless it's touching their flesh. So they'll wear, they actually have built glasses. They built these leather holders for these clear and for these dark glass lenses that they've built that allow them to filter out the sun so their eyes aren't burned.
And
by
I
it.
know they have advantages in the shadow, right?
Yes, they do.
Okay,
They absolutely
next
do.
question. What can I need to know? Is there an alchemist? Is there I need to create
Sure.
Here's what's going my first thought, smoke bombs to deal with being in the sun. It's going to create shadow. It's going to give them some kind of an advantage. If they can attack in the smoke,
Yeah.
that's better than attacking in direct sunlight.
It is, but it's like
I don't know. Just
Yeah.
first thought. This
it would
is
be
just,
more like if they could create like a cloud of inky darkness than just smoke. Like if they could somehow create,
Yes.
like if they could somehow do what a
drow can
a-
do, which
a
is
drow.
innately cast darkness.
Well,
Right?
that would be great.
Right.
But if they could also like, even that like they are blind in magical darkness. They get advantages in normal darkness. Like when they can see with their dark vision, that's when they have advantages.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're in total darkness,
There's nothing. Yeah,
they can't see either. That's how their eyes work. Yeah.
I see. Have umbrellas been invented yet?
I mean, I don't see like why not some form of it. Like there's something like they would just like it'd be like a pole thing and they'd unfold it and snap it open. Maybe
Yeah,
it wouldn't
shaded.
be like it wouldn't have a whole mechanism, but
Right.
like a parasail that
Because what I want
breaks
to do
down. Sure.
is send a scout to the largest library there is. Let me get a list of books that I want them to, subjects that I want them to look up.
Yeah.
And then what I want to do is I want to get a list of the things that I'm going to be really curious on, which are of course going to be like history of magic, the basic stuff. You know, if I'm pulling this reminds me of an H.P. Lovecraft story called The Case of Charles Dexter Ward. Are you
Okay.
familiar with that one?
No.
Where an ancestor is called back from the time. He's like reawakens and he has to try to figure out, everything around him. He has to try to relearn. He basically comes back and as his own great. He tells everyone is like, "Oh yeah, that was my granddad,"
Sure.
but it's really him reincarnated over and over and over and over.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Anyway, that's what it reminds me.
All right.
But
Excellent.
what I want to write down is I want to write down basic things about the world. Anything about mind flayers, anything about aberrations, anything about magic, anything
Sure.
about the gods, anything about Ayus,
Sure.
anything about the desert itself. That is and I want the scout to go to the library,
Right.
And I expect to see him back in I don't know how long. Go there,
Sure.
read, retain it all.
So here's what your options are. From where you are,
Yeah.
by riding, right? And they have to ride at night, sleep during the day, right? So by riding, you could be at the rise and approaching the main city of Taurus. Sorry, you could be approaching the main city of Taurus within the next 2 weeks. You would cut your travel time in half. So 2 weeks to get to Taurus. It is about a month and a half to get to Capania, and it is about a month to get to Karaman. Okay, Karaman is the bridge to Kadar. That is the nearest trade city with Kadar, has strong attachments to Kadar, and you're very aware of who Kadar is and what they seek. And what they seek is human superiority beyond anything and the destruction of all magic. Yeah.
Jealous.
Yeah, totally.
Jealous.
They also hate the gods.
Jealous.
So that's probably not on your first place to go, but also might have some really good information. Now, the closest city, Taurus, is basically a very, very large mining city. It's got a lot of power and a lot of wealth, but it's not so much sophistication. The elite live in Capania. It is, again, the golden city of the north. It has the most money, it has the most gold, it has the most riches, it has the most embellishments, and it has the most knowledge, at least the knowledge that they value in Capania.
Okay.
So if you really wanted resources, if you really wanted knowledge, that's the place to go.
Ride to Capania, kidnap or persuade a librarian or mage or scholar to come back with you.
Okay. So here's what I want you to do. You meditate for a while, and you wake up, and the next day you are met. It's getting towards day. You don't need to sleep that day necessarily. You don't like the daylight, but you don't need to rest like they're resting. And elves rest for 4 hours. So they all go back in their chambers, meditate, and then greet the day again.
Mm-hmm.
you are eventually, once you've been allowed to rest and bathe and do whatever, are you still wearing your assassin's flesh?
After I bathe and everything, I want to change to my true form and just observe it. If I want to, I might even go down to where the water is, and just kind of splash around like in a kiddie pool, just splashing around in there. I want to.
Your guards have no reaction.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about my body. This is a new thing, and it's freaking hot, man. I know that
the water is very comforting.
It's got to be nice, as a squid.
Being in water in general is pleasant for you. It's not necessary, but you like it. You feel a little dried out otherwise.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
So I want to go down in there. But you were asking me something about done with meditating.
Right. So you're done with meditation. You're taken to the pools. You're allowed to rest, and you're brought into or asked to join the council. And they basically are on one side of a table. You're on the other side, and they want to know what you want to do over the next, let's say, year.
You came out here to find me. You have found me. You are dealing with powers that you don't understand, and that I am only beginning to understand in this form. Though I don't understand exactly the world that I'm born into, the older forms of life seem to flit at the edges. I am filled with the need to know and to expand. If you are who called me out of this and you have no agenda on your own, you must be a desperate people.
They kind of look at each other for a second. Azari doesn't blink. The other two kind of look at each other. Whoa. And Ilor kind of leans forward. I would say when your survival is at stake, desperation creeps in. However, this call is from stability. The weight of your arrival is from stability. There's a strength here.
Yes.
We wish to follow. We wish to support you. But there's a reason for us being here as well. That is what we believe.
Okay, and do I know the relationship between the Sun Elves and where they were originally exiled from?
So, who are you wearing right now? You,
Myself.
right? Yeah, just as you. So yeah, it's like, again, when you're in you form, everything's just a little bit foggier. It's like, it feels less immediate. This all happened to someone else. While where you're wearing their skin, you're you, but you feel like these experiences happened to you.
Then I will turn into Enid.
So you turn into the old man, and like, there's a little bit, like, it's still a little discomforting, again, for everyone except for Azari,
right,
who is just gung-ho you, right? Woo! Yeah, exactly. So you turn into the old man, and again, now everything feels a little bit more present.
Okay, what I wanted to do is I want to know how do the elves feel? Where do they were exiled from? Where now?
So they lived over here, so by Lake Savan, and then in the city of Savan there, that's where those elves lived. It's a paradise. It's this side, everything past the mountains is lush and golden, and there are lakes and rivers to fill it, while everything west of the mountains is blasted desert. And that's the lands that you come from. Those elves were forced out of that lake paradise and marched west into the desert.
We'll take it back.
And you see Alora straighten. Azari is like, as much like he loves you now, like he believed in you now, and now he worships you. Like, you see in his eyes that shift from follower to worshiper. Right. You are the one that will take back the Holy Land and give it back to them.
The crusade has come. Right.
That's what he wants.
Right.
He wants the crusade. In that moment, you feel this tinge. When you ate this young gentleman that you've been wearing a lot, you felt his youth and his power and his strength and his intelligence. Like, this was a fine specimen in his prime, and it gave you this rush of physical joy. and you felt things in the way that he felt things that was different than you, and all that sensation was a rush of feeling you didn't remember experiencing. This tiny little prick, this tiny little push right somewhere around your chest is so overwhelming, is so many times more powerful than that, is so filled with love and joy and acceptance and worship and just complete and utter devotion. And it makes you so hungry for more of it. And that was your first little taste of an actual bit of worship. Thank you for joining us for Godsfall Episode 92, The Rise of Sigma, Part 2. For more information about Godsfall, including character sheets from D&D Beyond, original maps and art, custom mini-campaigns and adventure drop-ins for your 5e campaign, and your chance to play a game with DM Aram, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Vartian. And we'll see you next time in the world of the Five Kingdoms.